The Philippine military is finalizing its martial law recommendation to President Rodrigo Duterte. Armed Forces spokesman Restituto Padilla says the military may submit its recommendation as early as next week. Padilla says, quote, "The assessment is not yet complete. It needs to have basis before we can endorse the recommendation to our Commander-in-Chief." AFP Chief Eduardo Año and Philippine National Police Chief Ronald De La Rosa earlier said they're inclined to recommend an extension of martial law if the Marawi crisis remained unresolved and possibly to cover the rehabilitation phase in Marawi City. Duterte repeatedly said the duration of martial law in Mindanao rests on input from the AFP and PNP since they are more familiar with the situation on the ground. The Supreme Court on Tuesday upheld Duterte's martial law declaration. A social weather station survey shows President Rodrigo Duterte has a positive 67 net satisfaction rating, his highest ever. This amid the Marawi crisis and the imposition of martial law in Mindanao. Duterte's previous high was a positive 64 last September. The SWS survey shows 78% were satisfied with Duterte's performance in the second quarter of 2017, but only 12% dissatisfied and 10% undecided. In Mindanao, Duterte's net satisfaction rating slid by 12 points, from positive 87 to positive 75, but remained in the excellent category. But increased public satisfaction in Visayas and the rest of Luzon pulled up his ratings. In Visayas, the president's satisfaction rose by 11 points, from positive 62 in March to positive 73 in June. In the rest of Luzon, public satisfaction rose by 7 points, from positive 51 in March to positive 58 in June. Aftershocks rock Leyte Friday morning, a day after a 6.5 magnitude earthquake that killed at least 2 people and injured over 100 people. Local authorities are still assessing the extent of the quake damage. 3 provinces in western Visayas remain without power, while all schools are closed in Leyte as authorities assess the damage. Rescuers pulled out 13 trapped people from the collapsed 3-story Newtown grocery building in Cananga late Thursday. As of Friday, the building's owner had yet to inform authorities of the total number of people inside the building. Grab and Uber drivers on Friday urged that the Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board to lift its ban on new driver applications. Top Speed and Busy Paps, organizations consisting of at least 250 Uber and Grab drivers, are asking the LTFRB to junk its memorandum suspending applications for temporary permits to operate transport network vehicle service applications. The order was released to limit operations of TNVS, while LTFRB prepares a pitch on how to further regulate TNVS providers like Uber and Grab. The Philippines is the first country to regulate TNVS service providers. Busy Pap says some 7,000 already accredited drivers did not get their provisional authority or temporary permits renewed in 2016. The LTFRB earlier said drivers can renew or extend their temporary permits, but Busy Pap says the LTFRB has not processed their applications. Saudi Arabia and its allies on Friday slammed Qatar's refusal to accept conditions to end the Gulf's biggest diplomatic crisis in years. Saudi Arabia, Egypt, the United Arab Emirates, and Bahrain says Qatar's rejection of a list of demands they set to lift sanctions on Doha, quote, reflects its intention to continue its policy aimed at destabilizing security in the region. The 4 states last month announced the severing of all diplomatic ties with Qatar over allegations the Emirate bankrolled terrorists and had close ties with Saudi's arch-rival Iran. On June 22, they issued a 13-point list of demands, including the shutdown of broadcast giant Al Jazeera. The demands are a prerequisite to lift sanctions, which include a closure of Qatar's only land border and suspension of all flights to and from the country.